messy stuff. Just the reason I'm doing this is because I actually want to read a little bit of the bio that Diane sent me. Because I don't think I can say some of the things as eloquently as she did. So who already tonight has felt like there's been some miracle understandings about yourself here? It's Cheryl.
I know it again.
She's my favorite, right? Cheryl.
I'm sorry, I'm just not quiet. It's just
You are a prime example of truth. You just really love yourself and you allow yourself. So I adore it. Diane came into my life several years ago after I had had a really serious accident.
Then that's calm.
Nice and calm. And actually, she came into my life because somebody said, you should take Sydney there. It's probably Kara, actually. Said, you should take Sydney to see Diane because that would really help. And I do this thing where I always go first to check people out when it comes to Sydney. I do that, and I also taste all of the medicine she's ever had to have except the chemo. I tasted everything. That's what girls. And I went to see Diane, and I got on this table, and she supported me emotionally, physically, and in a higher way than I've never experienced in my life. And I had injuries from the accident that weren't discovered through the medical process. And you changed my life. Because I left there that day having completely embraced something that I didn't know, but I knew that had happened to me in that accident. And it allowed me to know myself. And I don't know if you know this, Diane, but your name is very talked about in our community. I'll be out somewhere and somebody will talk about something they got going on, and I'll be, have you met Diane? No, but I've heard of her. And you're very well known in our community because your heart and your soul and your kindness radiates from you. Several years ago, we came across each other again around an issue around acceptance and inclusion and kindness and care in our community that wasn't showing up. And her fierceness and her fire made me want to change the world. And the way that you brought that fierceness and fire in strength and grace is exceptional. And I know Kara knows you. She's like nodding her head because that is how I feel when I'm around you. I feel like I have the power to be in my fierceness with grace and elegance. And I want to thank you for that. So I'm just going to read a little bit of this. Maybe I can come with this time. As a shamanic practitioner, she holds space of healing with her drum. She holds space for the souls that are trying to find their way back to being whole. Diane guides them through soul retrievals, past life regressions, power animal connections, ancestor healing, extractions, wound healing, and the deep soul work that it all comes from. As a certified red tent facilitator, she holds space for groups of women to come together in various classes and retreats to reconnect them to their feminine birthright, to sit in a healing circle of women. I can feel that in every fiber of my being right now. She is a mother to 3 beautiful children and the author of a soon-to-be released series, Luna, Blue, and the Magic of the Moon. I just feel that deep care that you hold, and I really invite all of you to hold that same care for her up here as you hold for our community. So, Diane is going to come and talk.
Okay, well.
My goodness.
No, you did a good job.
Thank you.
I'll try to do a good job.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you, honey. Right back at you. Thank you. Oh, thank you. Oh my goodness, she knows how to do an introduction. Lord. I keep forgetting to set up a timer for everybody, but I'll stand up at 10 and I'll stand up at 5. All good, all good. I'm gonna take this on. You can do that. Yes, I can. Look at that. Okay, well, I'm Diane. And thank you so much to Women Talk Okotoks. Thank you for providing a platform for women to come and share pieces of who they are on a stage like this, in a safe space, a welcoming space, because I think it's so important for women to be able to claim their stories. So many don't. So many sit quietly in silence, with their stories very deep, festering sometimes, right? And it's a beautiful thing to be able to stand among people that will hold you when you share yours. So I'm grateful to be here. And when I was invited, I had one of those moments where it's like, your heart goes, oh my God, yes. Like 100%, 1,000,000%, absolutely you're going to do this. Absolutely. And I love it when that happens. Like, I'm not going to lie, there was a moment where my brain jumped in and was like, what have you done? Right? But then my heart quickly jumped back on board and said, come on, you'll be fine. Come on, this is going to be good. Come with me and you'll be just fine. And so I said, all right, I trust you. And I do. I've learned to trust that piece of myself, that intuitive part, my heart, when it tells me those stories, when it tells me it's going to be fine, and I know that it means that something I need to say tonight needs to be spoken. It needs to be given breath. Either that, or something that I'm going to say needs to be heard by one of you in this room. Maybe by many of you in this room. And likely it's a bit of both. Right? That's usually how it works. So then the next process in this journey is now I have to decide which story I'm going to tell. Right? Which story should I speak tonight? And then I stop myself real quick, because I try really, really hard in life not to should on myself. I'm not going to should, right? That feels false, feels inauthentic. So then I changed the dialogue in my own head and I said, well, what story could you tell? And that felt better. It changed it from obligation to opportunity, right? And it opened it up for me to what story wants to be told? What can I share? So I started to reflect on the journey that's been me and all my stories, all the chapters that have brought me here so far. And I thought, well, I could share the story of my last 20 years as a healer. My adult life, really, I've been holding space of healing for people. For broken bodies, for stressed out minds, for weary souls that are searching for healing, for help. And what that's looked like, that level of trust when people show up in my space and within minutes of meeting them, they lay on my bed and trust me completely. And what a gift that's been to me in my life. There's definitely some good stories there. But I thought maybe I could share the story of what it's like to be a mother of biracial children in a world where that's not always a good thing to be. In a world that is still learning to see color as equal, in a world that sometimes struggles and sees it as less than. I could share the stories of sitting in circles of women and how I've been called by my grandmothers and my grandmother's grandmothers and my grandmother's grandmother's grandmothers to bring this back in this lifetime and to breathe breath back into sacred circles of women. Because it's been calling to all of us. And how I had no choice but to dive into that and open my heart and open my doors and open my circle to women. And go on adventures with them. Go on adventures. Some people here have adventured with me where we're yelling at mountains and diving in rivers fully clothed. And diving in mud baths, not so fully clothed. And what a sacred journey that's been. I could tell the story of what it's like to be a woman who's lost 5 babies from her womb. And and how it shattered me in millions of tiny pieces. And how I spent a very long time on my knees trying to find them and glue them back together so that I once again could feel whole. That's a story that I'm sure many women can relate to. I could tell the stories of how I journey with my ancestors and my grandmothers and my spirit babies and my guides and my angels and my power animals, and how I walk hand in hand with them daily, hand in wing, sometimes hand in hoof. That's just how it goes. And there are many, many, many magical stories I could share about that. I could share what it's like to be diagnosed with a mystery autoimmune disease, and to be told that I might not have as long hair as I thought I would. And then I decided I'm not going to be a guinea pig in a system that doesn't understand what's going on with me. And that I would dive into what's going on in my body. And I would trust the healing to be found within myself, within plant medicines. I could tell you a story of how 15 months ago, I came this close to losing my life and the life of my daughter. And how if we would have been anywhere else other than in the hospital room when my placenta tore from my womb, we would not have made it because no one would have gotten to us in time. And how when they placed the mask over my nose to put me asleep so that they could try to save me and try to save her, in my head I was saying goodbye to my boys and my husband and my family in case I didn't open my eyes again. And how the last thought I had before they put me to sleep was, I hope I love them enough. I hope I love them all enough for this lifetime, and maybe every other one to come. So now I have all these stories. How do you choose which one you give life to? How do you choose which one to honor? How do you choose which one you'll tell? How would you guys choose? When they're all just chapters of who I am and why I'm here, of the story of me. And so I decided I couldn't just choose one. But maybe, just maybe, there was a common theme or a thread that I could weave in between each one of them. And that would be my story. And I found out there was one, there is one. And that is, I show up in my life. I show up. I show up for my clients when I feel like I've got nothing left to give. And I dive into their faith in me. And I hold space for them. And for 60 minutes at a time, I'm taking outside of myself and my own struggle. And I'm reminded that we're all connected and that we all struggle. And I'm given the gift of compassion and empathy for these people who are trusting me to hold them safe. It's been part of my healing journey.
Yeah.
I show up as a fierce mama bear for my children when the world is unfair and unkind to them. And out of all the things in their lifetime that they may be embarrassed of or ashamed of, the color of their skin will never be one of them. Never. I show up in ceremony with my spirit babies. I show up as a fierce goddess walking across fire-breaking boards with my hands and arrows on my throat. And I do the same. I hold this same space for other women to come and do that with me. to walk across fire for themselves and their sisters, and to take their fear and face it, overcome it. I show up with my sage and my drum and my songs, and I call on Mother Earth and I call on Grandmother Moon, whether other people understand that or not. I show up because I understand.
Me.
I'll show up with my plants and my oils and every doctor's appointment I have and let them in on the secrets that have been healing me.
Yeah.
And I showed up, rolling down that hospital hallway in the wee hours of the morning with a brand new scar across my womb to meet my daughter through glass and wires and tubes and hold her little hand. And I showed up every day of those 23 days she was in the NICU, amongst alarms and interruptions and fear and tests, to make sure she knew she was loved and to forge our bond as mother and daughter. And I will show up for her forever. I've shown up through fear and grief and sorrow and anger and rage, with tears pouring down my face. I've shown up in joy and laughter and celebration, with tears pouring down my face. I choose to show up. Sometimes maybe it wasn't a choice. Sometimes I felt like I was being dragged along by the universe, kicking and screaming, and I still showed up. And I think that is why we're here. We are all here to live a life out loud, on purpose. And that might look different for me than what it does for you. But we're not meant to be living this life hiding under covers. We're meant to show up. So I'm going to ask a favor of everybody here right now. Just take a breath and close your eyes. And I just want you to breathe into a space where you welcome the memories, maybe the feelings of when you showed up in your life. Think about those times that you've shown up as a mother, sister, partner, friend, warrior, fighter, survivor, goddess. Let yourselves be reminded of when you shown up in your life. And then I want you to take in a deep breath of gratitude for yourselves for doing that. As my friend said, it's not easy. And now I want you to take one more big breath. And I want you to breathe in to the space and welcome in the opportunity to acknowledge, where do you now want to show up in your life? How are you ready to show up in your life? And now I really, really, really want you to give yourself permission to do just that. Because you so deserve it. We all do. So now I'll leave you with this. First of all, I thank you all for showing up for me. And I hope you continue now to go out into the world and show up for yourselves. And I hope that wherever you go and whatever you do, when you close your eyes at night, and you think about the people you love, you can say, I know I loved them enough. Thank you.
That's one of my favorite parts is when we all get to hug, right? And I usually have a box of tissues, and I don't. So just use your sleeves, right? Just follow Sydney's example. Okay, everybody take a really deep breath, okay? You know, at the beginning you said that whatever you shared, you knew it would be for somebody, maybe for everybody. And I'm pretty sure that as I look around the room, that there was something here for everybody. And every single one of us, our hearts are more aware of who we are. And for me, I have to tell you that on the weekend actually was with Angela, and she's out of the room, so she's starting to hear this, but I was doing some work with her, and she reminded me how deeply I showed up when I didn't think I was. And to stand here and be beside you, being reminded of that, my heart is just so full of awareness and gratitude. Thank you. I know every one of you feels this, right? I just want to love you out. I just want to wrap you in the biggest hug. So, and you're freezing, so I'm going to turn up the heat.
I like warm hugs.
I know, right? So, those of you at the end of tonight that want to connect with Diane, please do, because I know
I'm bawling.
Many-
I need to see you, Diane.
Do you need a tissue?
Yeah, I need like the whole box.
whole box.
She's amazing.
So Diane does
Anybody
a ton of amazing work, and I ran into somebody just the other day who is part of, you have a monthly group, right? And I also know that you have, I think it's May 24th? 22nd, 24th, a Wild Women Retreat. Now, who thinks that would be an exceptional experience to experience with Diane, right? So please connect with her after. And you guys remember that to be a part of our fan group and our Facebook groups, because you can connect with each other and talk about what you experience here. It's powerful and amazing. And we're just so grateful that you came tonight. So thank you. Okay, we're going to do this.